The wolf huffed and puffed and blew the house down. We all recognize the story of the three little pigs. The wolf is the bad guy, and the pigs were just trying to build their houses, right? What if the roles were reversed? What if wolves were the ones just trying to build their homes, and humans were the bad guys knocking them down? What if we explore what it would be like if wolves were not always the bad guys like we were taught?
We have 15 red wolves and 21 Mexican gray wolves. Red wolves are critically endangered and Mexican gray wolves are endangered. People are pretty much the biggest threat to wolves in the wild.
According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Mexican gray wolves were once common throughout portions of the southwestern United States. However, by the 1970s, the Mexican gray wolf was nearly eliminated from the wild. What would happen if wolves were to go extinct?
Your forest would fall apart. So, Yellowstone, there was no wolves in the park from 1920 to 1990. There was only sick deer and elk. That's where a lot of the chronic wasting diseases started. All sorts of diseases had started in those areas in your prey population because of the fact that there was no predators. And so without having the predators there was no other species that could survive. Because you don't have anybody controlling the consumer, then they just eat the food all up for everybody else.
Just historically through eradication campaigns, poisoning, trapping, hunting, whether it was by private landowners or government agencies, there have just been so many attempts at completely wiping wolves out, and it's heartbreaking.
Despite it being glaringly obvious that wolf populations are declining rapidly, and knowing that they are important to supporting our ecosystems, unfortunately, this year, wolf hunting became legal in Wisconsin for a select number of days. The legal quota of 119 wolves being killed during hunting season was far exceeded, with 216 wolves being killed before the season was stopped.
For Mexican gray wolves, at the point of the start of their recovery, there were only 7 remaining. So now there are about 400. In the wild, in the Southwest, about 186. But of that wild population, they're all as closely related as full siblings.
When populations are no longer genetically diverse, then inbreeding may begin to occur. Down the line, inbreeding can cause genetic disorders that can lead to limb malformations or disorders of sex development. These issues with inbreeding stem all the way back down to the simple genetic level. We start out with a cell with a nucleus that contains DNA. The DNA is made up of chromosomes that then code for your traits, sex, and any diseases that you may carry. The DNA is broken down into small sections called genes, which are what determines the diversity of a population.
They think that there were probably more wolves that were poached. When that was shut down, people probably still continued trying to kill wolves, which is horrifying. Another horrible thing is that this was breeding season. So I'm sure there were wolves that were pregnant, or maybe even had young pups. It would be a little bit early, but certainly pregnant wolves. And even if it wasn't breeding season, hunting wolves just completely disrupts their pack structure, and it can lead to the death of many other family members because they're completely destabilized. So
I always say, be as strong as a wolf. Instead, let's see like one. You're in your den, You found a mate, the pups were just born, and all you want to do is protect and raise them. A person comes to try to hunt you down and kill your family. You're in the back of your den, cowering, just trying to protect yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like to see a wolf for the first time?
It was kind of magic. And then they were like, all right, let's get them to howl. And so they started howling and the wolves started going. And I was just like, is this real life?
Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like to see a wolf for the first time?
It's pretty awesome to be close to them, and it's pretty breathtaking. I think the first time you see them really close, it's almost like it's surreal.
So now I get to share that with visitors. And when we kind of walk down the path towards the wolf enclosures and they finally come into view, hearing everyone's reaction when they realize, is that a wolf? Oh my God, it's a wolf. Because the wolves will start kind of pacing the fence. Hearing that is always amazing. And just watching people see them for the first time and fall in love is just one of my favorite things. It sounds very cheesy, but it's a really amazing moment, whether it's kids or adults. And I like to think that, especially with the kids, like these kids could be me eventually, trying to form those little brains into future biologists or conservationists, something like that, really getting people to realize you can do this and you can really make a difference.
Listen to the sounds around you. In this fast-paced society, we don't take the time to slow down and notice our surroundings. We can't acknowledge anything or make any change if we don't first see that we aren't the only ones here.
We need to lend our voices. We need to write to government officials. We need to vote for people who, stand for wolves and protecting wolf habitat, and not just wolf habitat, but every kind of level of the ecosystem, really preserving these wild spaces, and making it clear that we won't stand for this.
There's no doubt that we need to do better when our world looks like this. Because if we don't speak up, who will? Working together, just one paw at a time, maybe we can turn this whole thing around. Because our howls are louder when we're all in a pack. Doesn't sound so much like the storybooks anymore now, does it? So next time you pick up that storybook to read about the big bad wolf all over again, just remember that future little biologist is looking right up at you.